Man, I just think it's a matter of time, man, when you got to sit back and reflect and you got to sit back and really analyze certain things. When certain people start coming at you and going at your neck, you got to sit back and reevaluate what you are seeing. There's one Cleveland insider that has changed his position when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. And you won't believe who it is and what this person said. You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Well, we got to talk about it because these Cleveland insiders, you get a lot of people going at their neck, and then they sit back and reflect and see what we're seeing from the outside looking in, and to evaluate somebody with your own lenses, then you start to realize, ooh, I made a big mistake. But we're going to talk about it right after this.
Let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. It's my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your top hits. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic, man. I got something to say.
Well, guys, you know I got something to say, man. Because we've been talking about this. We've been talking about this Shedeur Sanders story for the longest. And we have talked about people that have said some things about Shedeur Sanders when he came into the NFL, when he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round at 144th. And they took a quarterback by the name of Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. They took him over Shedeur Sanders. And a lot of people, when Dylan Gabriel was drafted, they thought that Dylan Gabriel was going to be the guy for the Cleveland Browns. And then an opportunity came along, and the Cleveland Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders. Now we know going into the 2025 season, Shedeur Sanders going into training camp, we didn't even really know what was really going on. We just heard a lot of rumblings on the wall that Shedeur's ain't this, Shedeur ain't that. Dylan Gabriel is head and shoulders above Shedeur Sanders. He's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. He reads the defense better than Shedeur Sanders. He throws a better ball than Shedeur Sanders. He has better awareness than Shedeur Sanders. Gets the ball out of his hands quicker than Shedeur Sanders. And he was better suited for the Cleveland Browns quarterback job. Now we know these Cleveland insiders, they was real fickled with Dylan Gabriel. Everybody was on Dylan Gabriel talking about, yeah, that's the quarterback that the Cleveland Browns need. Shedeur Sanders, I don't think Shedeur Sanders would get a chance to get on the field. Now, we heard some of the insiders. We heard Mary Kay Cabot. We heard Tony Grossi. We heard Tony Rizzo. But Tony Grossi, he made it a point because a lot of people said that Tony Grossi was hating on Shedeur Sanders because there was a incident where Tony Grossi said some things about Shedeur Sanders. And then after that first preseason game in Carolina when Shedeur Sanders showed out, him and Rizzo had an encounter. I mean, him and Grossi had an encounter in the tunnel. And Shedeur Sanders was basically saying, why everything that you say about me is negative? They kind of chuckled it off and laughed it off. But Shedeur Sanders was making it a point to let him know that everything that you write about me is negative. There's nothing positive that you write about me. We all know how Tony Grossi feels about Shedeur Sanders. He did not like Shedeur Sanders. He was telling people every chance he got on the radio show, Cleveland.com, he was telling people that Dylan Gabriel is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is not an NFL quarterback. Dylan Gabriel is head and shoulders above Shedeur Sanders. Every time he got a chance to go on ESPN Cleveland, 92.3 ESPN Cleveland, he would always say that the Browns made a right choice by putting Dylan Gabriel as their quarterback over Shedeur Sanders. He never thought that Shedeur Sanders would get on the field. And then he saw Shedeur Sanders get his first start against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then he had some opinions about that. Then he started kind of playing on the fence. And then I caught him flip-flopping. And now that everything has come out about everything but Shedeur, Tony Grossi has been back in the weeds. He's been quiet. until yesterday. He came out and he said some things, some shocking claims about Shedeur Sanders, and you won't believe what he said. And I told you guys, you got to pay close attention to Tony Grossi. But listen on how Tony Grossi now feels about Shedeur Sanders. Let's take a listen.
I've turned the corner on Shedeur. I think he deserves every chance to be the guy, and it's just a matter of how he performs.
What is the scenario where he doesn't play 12 games? Like,
well, Watson takes the job and runs with
it. What?
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we go to OTAs and Dylan Gabriel's the backup to Shedeur Sanders. I wouldn't be shocked by that. And Watson would be third on that list, would you?
Not in April, I wouldn't.
Right.
But not in July.
Would you be shocked? Would you be shocked if Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback? Well, we don't know who they're opening with. In week
start
one.
the season?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I agree with Riz that it's more logical to start with Shedeur with Watson.
What an indictment that would be on Shedeur if Watson is your day one starter.
Listen, if he doesn't beat him out, if you're drafting Ty Simpson, you're signing off on next year's draft and saying we don't need those guys, those quarterbacks. Ty Simpson is your franchise quarterback.
Tony,
if you pick him.
You're also passing on a player at 24 who can start for you this year and contribute, not at that position.
Yep.
Like you're passing up a wide receiver.
Yep.
So in this thing, Jerry Jeudy is your number one wide receiver.
They have an addressed receiver. Now you could come back at 39, but the Ty, listen, everyone's assuming who's dumb enough to take Ty Simpson.
Tony, come on.
Well, I'm going to defend the Browns and say they're not that.
Now you heard what Tony Grossi had to say, man. He has now switched the tone. He's now switched in trying to get on this Shedeur Sanders train. Now he's saying the Browns would be foolish to draft Ty Simpson. And if they do draft Ty Simpson, that's telling you that you're just forgetting about the quarterback that you have now. And then he says that it's more likely that Shedeur Sanders is built for the job. Then he went on to say that Shedeur Sanders earned every right to be the starting quarterback. Tony Grossi has nothing else to say about Dylan Gabriel. That was his guy. He can't defend Dylan Gabriel no more. Shedeur Sanders has made Tony Grossi a believer. And that goes to show you that when people start talking about you and to you and calling you out, you have to pay attention to those things. Because I think Tony Grossi has sat back and he listened to all the rumblings on the internet and on social media and YouTube from the YouTube content creators in the social media spaces in the sports realm. He's heard everybody going at him. He's been trending all season long. And I know he's been seeing countless of videos, people going at him because of the disdain like he has for Shedeur Sanders. Now he has sat back and analyzed that this guy, Shedeur Sanders, he's a hell of a quarterback. And he has earned the right to be the starting quarterback. And just like Tony Rizzo said, in the 24th pick, you don't pass up on somebody that can potentially come in and start, like a Malachi Flemings from USC, or Makai Lemons, I'm sorry, or Cornell Tate. These are guys that can upgrade that wide receiver position. But you heard what Tony Grossi has said. He has flipped, he has swayed, he has came to the other side because enough people have called Tony Grossi out. And now he doesn't even talk about Dylan Gabriel no more. He said that Dylan Gabriel won't even be the backup quarterback. Tony Rizzo said he gives Dylan Gabriel a shot to be the number 2 quarterback behind Shedeur Sanders. Because the Cleveland Browns, they don't like Deshaun Watson. I don't think they're going to play Deshaun Watson. That's why Tony Rizzo said that it's a possibility that Dylan Gabriel will be quarterback too. But Tony Grossi don't even want to go down that rabbit hole again when it comes to Dylan Gabriel. Everything is positive that's coming out of his mouth is about Shedeur Sanders. It's unbelievable on how these guys, when they start realizing and sit back and analyze and look through their own lens to evaluate a quarterback, then they'll see. And I think that's what Tony Grossi has done. And It helps when you got people going at his head to call him out for every bad take he has had. But it's shocking that he would say things like that and try to come to the other side. But Tony Grossi, it's too late. It's too late. We already know that now that your gig is up and you have nothing else to say good about Dillon Gabriel, why not start talking positive about Shedeur Sanders? We see you, Tony Grossi. We see you, Tony Grossi. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. And I subscribe to the channel. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.